think back to what you said when we were all checking out the suit together. Remember? When you're in that suit, not only can you not see your feet, but you can't even bend at the waist.
You all got a good look at it, did you not?
Third class trial.
Which means when Hina and Sakura got to the
So if you didn't watch the last episode, go back and watch it, and then watch this one, because we're picking up this whole class trial right as continuation.
And it could only have been Hifumi, who just finished stashing Taka's body there.
He convinced us all he was dead, and when he saw his chance, he dragged Taka's body to the repository. So, Hifumi wasn't just another victim in this case. He was one of the assailants.
But that means he took part in the murders.
Now he's dead.
If you're having trouble, would you like me to show you one more piece of evidence?
There's more?
Oh, absolutely. The single biggest fact pointing to his involvement has yet to be revealed. You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto? The item he took off of Taka's lifeless body?
I got it!
The note that Hifumi
The note Hifumi had given away, aren't you?
He didn't note?
That's right. We found it stuffed in his pants.
What? In his hand?
Okay, well, forget about the pants for now. Take a look at what the note says.
That's the note I was telling you about. The one that told me where to go. Huh? Wait, this one's a little different. In my note it said, Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the rec room at 1 a.m.
I see. Then this note isn't the same one Hiro got.
It's not the same?
In other words, the killer...
It's not the same because Hiro had 1 a.m. Hifumi had 6 a.m. 6 a.m. in the equipment room where he had 1 a.m. in the rec room. So there's two different times in two different places.
And that person could only have been... I got it! That's right! Taka! The killer used this note to draw out Taka and murder him.
Hello? Over here! Objection! Objection! I don't really understand what's going on, but Hifumi had that letter, right? So whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok, they were drawing out Huffy!
TikTok, really? This game was like 6 years before its time, and then Huffy is a bike company, like a BMX bike company for kids. So first of all, you have a industry, two different industries, nonsense.
TikTok is Taka and Huffy is Hifumi, right? Oh, yes! Why must you ruin it every time?
Oh man, are we in another gambit? No, it's just an argument. Now we have multiple, okay.
Huffy had the note, right?
I need to have the Brooklyn wristwatch.
Must have been Huffy!
And I did too.
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter, it has nothing to do with TikTok!
Oh, I missed it.
Doesn't matter, it has nothing to do with TikTok!
No, it's wrong. But there's more. Look where the
information. I missed it. Okay, there's actually a connection. No sentimental series was tending on written the straws.
the equipment room, which is where Taka was killed. So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place, written in the note. I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Well, when you put it like that. No further objections!
And someone used that note to trick Taka. Just the same as me. The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster. Telling people they found a way out.
But if they gave the note to Taka, what was Hifumi doing with it? Stuffed down his pants, no less!
Most likely, Hifumi stole it off Taka's corpse after he died.
Where's your proof? Go ahead, show us.
I got it! When I searched Taka's body, if I'm right about this, the sheet of paper this piece came from, it knew it! It fits perfectly with the note we found hidden on Hifumi.
My point proven.
Then Taka's scrap and Hifumi.
Yup, they're from the same piece of paper.
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There is only one way to explain it.
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from this death grip, leaving behind only one small scrap. Did I get all that right?
That means Hifumi knew the note was important.
Exactly. Which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder.
Whoa. Yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing for sure. In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact, he's still alive.
Sorry, no. When we found him in the repository, Hifumi was truly and completely dead. The second body discovery announcement proves that.
So then, who killed Hifumi?
Whoever did is the mastermind, the true killer.
He was killed in the repository. So he must have been killed not long.
So, he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished, but before we found both bodies in the repository.
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body. In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
Wait, but me and Sakura were together. Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid walrus. Who are you calling a walrus?
Oh man.
Anyway, it's something that's bothering me even more.
And what might that be?
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
A weapon?
Yeah, because I mean, according to the Monokuma file, the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same, with them having similar fractures and all. But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room, right? So if Hifumi was killed in the repository, the culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi, and put the hammer back where they found it. But wouldn't that be seriously risky for him?
I'm surprised. It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull of yours after all.
Damn, ruthless.
Hell yeah, it's packed in there good and tight.
He's right, though. I don't understand it either. The Monokuma file makes it clear that they were killed using similar instruments. But if the hammers were already laying around those other...
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their hands on either of the hammers?
They didn't have to. If you guys remember a ways back, a couple episodes ago, when I started this session with the new thing and everything, it would have been episode, oh god, I don't even know. I've done 3 tonight. Schedule wavy time. Okay, sorry, and I mean, I must have just copied it. So, this one, right here. 21 and 22, because they're all by the date. From oldest to newest. Which would mean for me, episode 21 back in May, got the 2 in May and 2 in days before that. So, to me, it would mean that when looking back at that episode, there was dumbbells on the wall, and there was, the tarp was already in that room, and you have the dumbbell, not the dolly, as well as Sakura and Aoi, and I was looking for Byakuya in that room. I said to talk to him, and he wasn't in there. So now at that point, which was the beginning of episode 22, so we just kind of throw that up real quick. As in, right here, this piece of evidence right here, this was today, meaning this hasn't been posted yet, but in episode 21, this dumbbell was, or hammer was extremely clean, meaning if it's the size of this one, it could be the same size as the Justice Hammer made now. So I'm trying to reference older stuff because I don't do well at editing at the moment, meaning actually that's me right now with the new setup. So yeah, that's how much I like, wait a minute, we did see dumbbells like this. I took mental note of it, but I didn't really care about what was going on there. Anyway.
Personally, I haven't a clue. So which hammer was used to attack Celeste? Number 1 or number 2?
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
Then,
Is it not possible they used a different weapon?
I don't think it is possible. They were both killed with the same kind of thing, right?
So then, what was used to kill Hifumi?
Oh, asshole.
what was used to, was it just me, Justice?
I know the internet, it's one of the Justice Hammers.
Justice Hammer 5 is about. Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info.
What are you talking about?
The murder weapon had to be one of the two.
And the Justice Hammers. It was not, it was a clean break hammer.
The murder weapon wasn't a Justice Hammer at all. No, it was something completely different.
But, seriously? A different weapon?
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi. Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris. But for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean.
Huh?
And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used. If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off.
No,
And also, like
and also it was gone, as you can,
all kinds of hammers. Big ones, small ones. And
If that's true, that wouldn't.
there was enough room there. And some like flat mold, like just envision the design.
So So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used a hammer to kill him.
And whoever did that is the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him. Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with him.
I think Yakuya is the killer, honestly.
There is no benefit to helping someone else carry out the murder. So the idea that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about this, did we not?
Yeah. This is like the last one.
Actually, assuming the rules hold true.
But that only really applies if there's one murder. In this case, however, there were two murders.
Based on the rules, even if more than one, only the one who actually assuming the rule holds true.
You can simply... No, it's wrong. Since there were two murders, it's at least plausible that more than one person was involved.
What do you mean?
If there's only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering. Naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit.
Risk versus reward benefit?
The payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in a scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you.
Exactly, meaning if I, Makoto, helped Kyoko kill Sakura, yeah, I just help scheme it, and I'm not the main assailant trying to kill Sakura, I don't get to win. Meaning the black end, which would be Kyoko in this case, would win, and everyone else dies, meaning I would die anyway.
However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, then cooperation becomes possible.
You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to commit two separate murders.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime. And based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act, murdering Taka. They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on.
So in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating two separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because that's how the true killer designed it to look. A single suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime, disappearing bodies.
I think that the best way to pronounce this scheme, I guess if you want to call it, is person A, which is the murderer for this case, kills Taka, or asks Hifumi to kill Taka in a certain way. In doing so, Hifumi kills Taka. But because it's not done in a certain standpoint or a certain way that the original murderer was wanting to put it together, he kills Hifumi. So Hifumi now the kill. So Assailant 1 kills Assailant 2 that kills the innocent. Meaning Hifumi and Taka are dead. But the original assailant that would have wanted to kill Taka is still alive in the room. I think this one assailant killed two people, which is unlikely. But he didn't physically outright kill Taka. He killed Hifumi. But that was only after Hifumi killed Taka. So it was a chain of events that played out. Personally.
In one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all.
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan.
That's what I rather think too.
And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice.
Yep.
Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
That's just
can't help but admire its cunning. Still, their choice of accomplice seems odd.
Man, it's insane.
I understand how an accomplice could be involved.
So, characteristics you got much not the fact. So not the whole kind of serious connection, but as two separate incidents. Much too amazing in terms of natural today. I mean, she's a detective, so it makes sense. Never physically stated in the game, but I'm pretty sure she is for this. Wait a minute, but why were you calling the strings?
That's problem numero uno right now.
And then him in the bridge up to Knox, which is Knox, out down.
Here's my answer. It was Celeste.
Ah, so I'm the suspicious individual now, am I? I really do hate this kind of joke.
A joke? I wonder.
So what you are saying, then, is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi. The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him, that I would go within 10 feet of that shit-punk, brain-fat, lazy, worthless, goddamn idiot! Pardonnez-moi.
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you. Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together.
I got it! The behavior they had in common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit, doesn't it? The only ones who ever actually saw Robo-Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Hifumi's dead. And Celeste is the only culprit being able to see and recognize the dude. Which would mean...
The adults are talking now. Sorry. As he said, only Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes on the costumed individual.
Weird, you're not an adult, we're all high school students. But I guess through the dates and ages.
If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct? And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said?
Top of the stairs.
We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen. Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said? Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
Yeah.
It was to get us to divide into two groups. So that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up.
The player in Hina.
Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected. And
Yeah.
on top of that, That piercing cry of yours. That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? It was your way of telling him, we're on the 3rd floor. Everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead, Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
I don't believe it. Everything. The whole thing was one big act.
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
Yeah. I was feeling sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom. Wait. Then that was...
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed.
Very true.
Do you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but looking back, I can say that that one little slip-up was your undoing.
What?
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
I remember her saying that too, but I don't understand what's so strange about it.
So, if you guys don't remember, at the end of this part 2 or 3, beginning of part 3, chapter 3, whatever, we see Monokuma talking to an individual. It was a stylized Danganronpa individual, similar to what we've seen in the manga when they explained that a person went into similar to the one that they used in the manga sheet during chapter 2 when Leon, I think, the biker, Armadillo dude, was walking into the boys' locker room with Chihiro. And that's who killed Chihiro was Mondo, not Leon. Leon killed Sayaka. And Mondo killed Chihiro. So, seeing that, is Mondo, no, we've seen Mondo better. Of course he's dead, there's no doubt about it. And the game progressed, so it definitely made more sense. But maybe there's, since it's stylized like that to be an individual unknown to the player, maybe there's some information there that we never really got to see, and maybe that kind of progresses forward a little more. Slightly interesting.
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room. Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed. So Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the four of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead. Think about it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Oh, though I don't really get what it means.
You hear that, Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
Now rolling back up since we have our handy dandy transcript. Hearing Celeste having trouble understanding up here. Sakura, Toko, and Byakuya was the first to find Taka's body. Meaning there was, Monokuma said earlier in the playthrough, last episode, the episode before, 3 people have to find the body before an announcement is called. Meaning you, someone else, and the assailant. Or a different person, meaning 3, minimum 5 people are involved. By the looks of it. The deceased, the killer, and 3 finders, meaning at minimum 5 people have to be found. Which will probably change when we get closer to the end of the game. Now, when Hifumi died, you had nobody at first. Wait, who was on Hifumi when he first died? He wasn't dead in the nurse's office. And the next time they found him, both Hifumi and Taka was in the equipment room upstairs when Byakuya showed us, the player, they were both dead in the equipment room. And Sakura, I guess, was there already with us. And so is Aoi. So that would be that we didn't have everyone in play for 8 people. So that always gives you an idea. And then maximum foul 3. This is another assault board.
They must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated.
About Celeste's comment.
So last one,
They
yeah.
must really enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are all going to. We are going to die. And that is
And that's all it takes to finish this. What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
They must really enjoying the sight of us standing around. They must be positively. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
Nice.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it? What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
They must really enjoying the sight of us. They must be positive. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like. No, it's wrong.
I mean, most of them will die, but there might be a few living. I haven't seen the end of it.
There's no reason Celeste should have said, just like those guys died. When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys? Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
You all have such vivid imaginations. You know that?
Imagination.
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then what about the picture I took? How do you explain this picture of the costumed villain dragging Hifumi away?
It has to be some kind of setup, right? So let's put the suit on, and then she used the camera's timer to set up the picture.
Have you supposedly forgotten? You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit. Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer. In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away. If everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist?
Simple. Are we sure that's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
What could you possibly mean by that?
Surely there are other explanations than the one you've offered up.
No, there is no other explanation.
Is
I got it! It's not a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away. I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility. The one being dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit. We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Such a thing is utterly impossible. Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
the Robo Justice? Okay.
You dressed me up in that suit after I got...
So reasoning is the Robo.
Then you just dragged me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight. You tried to make me look like the bad guy.
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is if the person inside the suit was unconscious. There's no way they could stand up straight like that.
No, wrong. No. Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that because that Robo Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
I can't bend down.
That's right. They totally made a mistake when they made it, so it couldn't bend at the waist.
I'm not so sure that was a mistake. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used the way it was.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing. And the point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
Don't make me laugh at it. What do you mean, checkmate?
Yikes.
Well, clearly, you want to cram me into your little guilty box. One little problem. Have you already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying? When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, was it not? He said, and I quote, Yasuhiro. In other words, Yasuhiro, attack away!
Right. But my name isn't really Yasuhiro. It's actually Taro.
Your confusing statements don't make any sense. You're only making things more complicated.
He did say Yasuhiro, but are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Kyoko, what do you mean by that?
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us?
I got it! That's right. Our last names. He called us all by our last names.
Exactly. I know I heard him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example. So if Hifumi did mean to say Hiro's name, he would have said his last name, Hagakure.
I'm sure it was just incidental. By chance, his first name indecent?
Don't talk.
Random chance. Now isn't that a convenient explanation? No. There's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal. But he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
Well, no. Hold on. There's one person it could apply to, and that's Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is.
What?
Yep, we never got a last name here.
To think you take your false accusations so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit. Come on! Enough with your idiotic blather. Yasuhiro is a loser's name. Do I look like a loser to you? Well, do what? I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge.
Okay, then fill us in. What's your real name?
Make sure your ear holes are wide open. My real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please stop making me repeat myself over and over again?
Here we go.
Trying to tell us something. He wanted us to know the killer's last name, Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here,
It would have to be you, Celeste.
how many times Celestia Ludenberg, god damn it!
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me,
No, it's wrong.
I've seen way too many of them crosses and the hovers over it. I know you have to think outside the box.
The handbook.
what?
Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right? Monokuma told us all about it before.
Yep. Your name, and I'll make sure you have the right one.
So all we have to do is check our handbook, and that'll clear up everything. That's how we can find out Celeste's real name.
That's an invasion of privacy. I refuse to cooperate.
Celeste, can you please just tell us what you've written? Please, just tell us.
Even when I'm put in check, it's just my nature not to give up. Because until the game's over, you never know what might happen.
Fine then. Let me go over the case again, from the beginning, and shed light on all your crimes. And that'll bring everything to an end.
Closing game and you of the night. I get to actually use. See what I mean? This face. So I'm gonna use my mouse and keyboard for this so I can see everything here. So I'll use scroll here. Okay. I'm just gonna use this to be a little easier. So the first one is okay. First one is who means fits in profile. Okay, probably. Don't really know the actual clock. Let's read this one. And then the third one is hero holding his head. Yep, this one. Color rolling the camera. The watch itself is next. Body human number 4. This one. And then Justice Hammer number 2. And Hammer number 3. Then the dolly with the dolly's not on here. Man, the potato chip, a ball, the hammer, I guess it would be that one. There. Which would mean facing profile, which would be this one, because he hasn't got that other one in yet. And then here is the dolly itself, and then last but not least, it is a body hammer without a number. See this one. Because one time that's ready, and then that one doesn't mean anything yet. That was from the last scene. And his backpack wasn't a thing. So, here we go.
The killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder. And that person was... With an accomplice, the killer was able to execute a number of otherwise impossible schemes. First, they convinced someone in the rec room last night at 1 in the morning. That someone they met with was Hero. The murderous duo intended to pass Hero off as a prime suspect. And so when they met up with him, they drugged him, knocked him out, and stuffed him into the Robo-Justice suit. Positioned himself to make it look like Robo the Killer used a digital camera to take pictures of the assault. They did all this just to create evidence that would put the suspicion on Hero. When they were done with him, they shoved him, still unconscious, into the cold locker.
Weird, okay.
And then finally, at 6 a.m., they moved into the murder phase of their plan, called Taco to the equipment room. That's where Hifumi killed him, making it the scene of the first murder. The murder weapon was Justice Hammer 4, which was left there in the equipment room. The reason Hammer number 4 was used was to create confusion about the order of the crimes. So, next they falsified 2 more assault incidents. For these attacks, the killers pretended to be the victims to solidify Robo-Justice as the suspect. The first fake incident was the attack in the rec room. There, the killers wanted us to see Justice Hammer 1 and the Robo-Justice pictures they took. They wanted to make sure we bought the surprise attack store. The second fake incident was the attack in the library. This time, they planted Justice Hammer 2 and an injured Hifumi to set with these 2 incidents. The killers were able to create a certain preconception in our minds that the suspect was increasing the size of the hammers and attacking people in order as they did. We fell right into their trap and started looking for the suspect based on that. But while we did that, we left Hifumi alone in the nurse's office. This was exactly what Hifumi was hoping for. He took a blood packet from the refrigerator and Justice Hammer 3 and turned the room into a crime scene in which he himself had apparently been brutally murdered. He let out a scream to draw us back, and when we returned, that's what we found. Meanwhile, the other group that had been out searching found Taka's body at the same time. So when we heard the body discovery announcement, we naturally assumed it was for Hifumi. We left the nurse's office, and Hifumi once again took advantage of the situation. When we learned his body had disappeared, we all rushed back to the nurse's office, and once again, Hifumi had the
I was saying mash or hoarded B, and it flipped a couple, but we all know what happens here.
left Taka's body in its heart and used the dolly to move it all the way down to the repository. That explains how each of the bodies disappeared. But even Hifumi didn't know what the true killer had in mind for their final act.
I was even wrong for this.
Their plan all along was to kill Hifumi and get rid of the one person who could betray him, and they did it using an ordinary, everyday hammer from the repository. That should cover everything that happened in this case. Bill and Buck.
It's so less than Hifumi. Final Gambit, is that what's going on now?
Celeste, sorry, you lose.
It's still a nice background. Just from the complete yay! I did it first try this time in one sitting.
When was the last time I was forced to utter such words? They hang heavy around my neck.
Then you admit it? You're the killer?
Listen to you, trying to take charge, as if you're my private instructor. I, Celestia Lunenberg. Actually, no, Taiko Yasuhiro is fine.
Taiko Yasuhiro, okay.
So, you finally accepted it.
I'm the kind of person, once I've lost, I don't like things to drag on.
Different voice and everything, wow.
Interesting.
I think it's that time. B C C A A A A A A A. Yes! I got an A. Let's go. 92 miles. Cool.
Okay, Monokuma. I'm ready to begin. Or, no, I suppose this is the end, isn't it?
I need to hear her voice.
It is indeed the moment we've all been waiting for. Time to vote. Oh, if you would, please locate your lever and cast your vote. And when the votes are tallied, who will become the Blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong?
We're done. Yeah. Guilty as can be. And that's what I am going to. Well, I'm going to leave this in, and if it tells me, hey, you need to cut it, I'll cut it. But I do want to have a couple of these in because they're pretty fucked. So I see one over Taco Yashihiro. Wow, that's. And then now because of my calculations.
So then,
I mean, it is a woman's way to victory is through her devious eyes. Her.
Say what?
just a second. In other words,
Indeed.
I see.
Actually,
What?
are you okay with this? So then,
Damnation! Say what?
as for me,
Oh,
as for me,
what? Damnation! Say what? The unforgivable!
most unfortunate. Actually,
What?
indeed. Honestly,
I swear I will.
actually,
Um.
I see.
indeed.
But
Let's see.
This is it. Wow, I would never guess all of this is to happen.
so in the end,
So I'm just reading text as well as you guys, but I'm going to do it a little quicker than usual.
don't be mean.
I wonder about that.
Why?
What the heck? Honestly. As for me, isn't it wonderful? This is fine. There is nothing to be done. Just the worst. Oh. Do you understand? What is this?
There's so much text.
Yes, indeed. Isn't it wonderful?
We enter another. That might be somewhere later in a different game. That's true.
Grills, chills, camp! Now then, I prepared a very special punch. Let's give it
The ultimate game punishment time.
What?
So this
Will it really
is.
give you the hope you're looking for? I can't say I ever saw it that way.
Wait, what? A key?
Which is why, actually, it's not important. Well then, take care, everyone. Perhaps we'll meet again in another life.
extreme! What are you gonna do?
Let me out of here!
Too bad. Hey, hey! What?
So then,
Ooh,
hey,
ooh, how exciting!
Well,
What?
see ya later.
The
so
Hey,
indeed.
Okay, I know this is a longer video episode, but nighttime chapter 3. I'm gonna put it at the end of chapter 3. So the locker room. She's still there. Hmm.
However, it's true. That's fine.
Third, well, we got the bathroom.
Correct.
The boys' bathroom, second one does have a silver. Storage closet on the back. Instead of bringing the back of the boys' bathroom, storage closet. So the boys, that's the girls, this is the boys' hat. I never thought we'd be going in the boys' bathroom. Or in the back. Storage closet, yeah. What? Oh. What? A chair and a bunch of files, volumes of yearbooks. Hmm. Must not leave. Everything is gone. Papers and everything. What? It's just... What? What? Back in my room on the first floor. My fucking hand is shaking, my heart is racing. Ooh, this is going to a big jolt.
Why, you? What do you think you're doing? I asked you a question. What's the meaning of this? How dare you defy me? This wasn't part of the deal! I've made a decision. I will no longer retreat. No longer compromise. No longer regret. I've made my decision. I'm going to resist you.
But you do realize what will happen if you go through with this, right? You haven't forgotten, have you? What I'm holding hostage?
Oh my god. 7 remains. A lot to take in. That is a lot to take in. No one's executed. Chishire killed by Mondo. Mondo was executed. Taka and Hifumi was burned alive by Celeste. And this is technically the start of chapter 4. I'm gonna play a little more tonight just to complete any ambitions because there was a lot to take in. Like personally, I'm drawn to this game now. It's so. We're going to continue this next time. I do want to get a little bit information tonight. I mean, it's 1:30 in the morning, so there's that. But I do want to play this a little bit more. So I will see you guys next time on Danganronpa. And yeah, this has been a wild ride at the